The Italian Wine Podcast is the community-driven platform for Italian wine geeks around the world. Support the show by donating at ItalianWinepodcast.com. Donate €5 or more and we'll send you a copy of our latest book, My Italian Grape Geek Journal, absolutely free. To get your free copy of My Italian Grape Geek Journal, click support us at ItalianWinepodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. Grazie mille.
Welcome to another episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Each week, she travels to incredible wine destinations, interviewing some of the Italian wine scene's most interesting personalities, talking about wines, the foods, as well as the incredible travel destinations.
Can you hear me? Can you hear and see?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations. You did it. Yeah. It only took us like 5 minutes. You see, just in time.
10 seconds, come on.
Hey, Priscilla, listen. The next step, we're getting you on Clubhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you getting ready?
Of course.
No, listen, let me show you something. Is this your signature? Do you see it?
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, is that actually yours? Maybe I can sell it on eBay.
Okay. Why not?
Priscilla, how are you today?
Very well, thank you. How about you?
Really relaxed. I'm a little bit under the weather. Yeah. I have an exam tomorrow, actually. Listen, let me just introduce you to my team. Some of them you know already, like this crazy lady here, Christina.
Hi.
Christina, she used to work for Luca Gandini, do you remember?
Of course.
So she went from one crazy person to another. Rebecca, she is our WSET educator. She's the smart one in the group. Right. And then Jacopo, he's our Italian wine ambassador. Manuela, she's the boss from Puglia, directly from Puglia.
Hi,
Franco
Manuel.
is our WSET educator.
Hi, Franco.
Lan.
Hi.
They're both from China.
Yeah.
They are actually ambassadors. They're experts in wine as well. So listen, we are doing this mostly because I've started this diploma journey, WSET diploma. Do you remember? Like I was writing to you and you're like, no. So I know you did WSET 3. Tell me when did you do it and what was your experience? Like, why did you do it?
Well, I did it in November 2019 and I joined the Accademia del Vino in Milano. And
You didn't come to me, but I will forgive you because you make decent wine, so I will forgive you.
Okay, thank you, Stevie. But for me, it was good because you know that I'm based half of the week in Milano. So I just could follow the courses very easily. And I did the exam at the end of 2019, I think in November, because I chose to do 1 week course with the exam on Saturday.
Okay.
So I started the book.
So you're like secchione.
Secchione, not really, because I became again a secchione after so many years that I hadn't been in school, because I was told when I enrolled that I had to know the book by heart even before I show up to the course. So I did that. I studied the book and then I took my 1 week course, which was more like a rehearsal of everything which was in the book. And also the tasting part was connected then. And the examination was then, the writing of the questions and then the essays and then the tasting part. And honestly, I wasn't that sure that I was gonna pass it or even, I was hoping to pass. I know,
but you get distinction. That's so unfair.
Yeah, I got.
You make good wine and you get good grades. The world is not fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I only got merit, and but I didn't study like you. That's
no. I maybe studied more, but I had done the previous 2 levels in 2000. So long.
Oh, you did?
Yes. When I was in London as a student, I enrolled for WSET in the London headquarters, and I did the first and second level.
What do you think about the way WSET consider acidity? Oh my God, we have some real geeks on today.
Okay.
That's crazy. So listen, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of chit chat and then we'll be tasting one wine. Okay. So let's start with one question. Let's start with Xiaowen.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So yesterday I did some homework. I checked on your website about the blend. And until back to the 1968, like your first one And your blend has always been 85% Cabernet Sauvignon and 15% Cabernet Franc. So what's so special about this blend?
Well, first I have to say that both grape varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc, have demonstrated that they can adapt very well to this environment and this microclimate here in the Bolgheri area. And while Cabernet Sauvignon maybe brings more the elegance and the aromas, Cabernet Franc is there to complement with some structure and some color as well. So let's say that they are complementary, and at the same time, having two grape varieties gives the wine a little bit more complexity. Also, the fact that they are, as you said, 85% 15 is not 100% the same every year. What is most important to remember is that by law, according to the Bolgheri Sassicaia DOC set of laws, we have to have minimum 80% of Cabernet Sauvignon every year.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So why don't you give to Lan?
Hey, it's Chairman's Day. Hi, Priscilla. It's been a while since we actually last met at Vinitaly. You did a Code Vintage vertical tasting of Sassicaia. Yeah. So I have a question about the vintages. What are the hot vintages in the last decade, and what are the challenges and what are the characters?
So in the last decade, probably 2012 and 2017, I would say, were the warmer vintages. I mean, the challenges are like everything that comes related to a warm vintage. We have to harvest grapes which are in the end not so overripe, because what we try to look for in our wines is always a certain elegance and freshness, even in the more challenging warmer vintages. So I think the characteristics of the Bolgheri territory and our geographical position, as well as the peculiarity of the vineyards that we have in Tenuta San Guido, which are placed in strategic points in the heights of the hills and surrounded by forests, and we are so close to the sea, everything contributes to mitigate the effects of the warmer vintage. And then, of course, we have to do more selection at the time of the harvest.
So it's a place you live and work in Bolgheri.
Yes.
You see the mountains, you have the vineyards.
Yes. Yeah, it's not so bad. Yeah, very beautiful.
Jacob has a question for you as well.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello,
my question
Jacob.
is a little different, because Sassicaia is one of the most falsified wines in Italy.
Yeah.
So what are your policy to prevent this?
We had recently a big case in October last year, but luckily these bottles, which were found by the Guardia di Finanza, were never released on the market because, of course, we collaborate all along with police task forces that are involved in checking all these things for falsified wines, etc. Luckily, they were able to identify these bottles as fakes because, of course, we give them the right information, what they have to look for. And every year, Tenuta San Guido as a company invests actually a lot of money in getting better and better with these counterfeit tricks, how to prevent people from copying our bottles. But of course, this of October was not the first and will not be the last episode. I mean, there will always be people trying to fake some wines, and we have to keep up with the technology. And also we have a good tracing connection. I mean, we have a good connection with our importers, and we set up a system where we can trace our wine pretty well thanks to their collaboration. Of course, one advice is always to source the wines from trusted suppliers where you can have certainty of the product. But I would like to tell you more about what kind of devices we have, but I can't reveal you some of them because they are classic. But for example, if you look at the bottle, I mean, from the simple embossing with the name of the estate and the name of the wine, they're all little things that makes it more difficult for the counterfeiters to...
I can understand this, yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So yesterday, obviously, was International Women's Day. So I wanted to ask what you thought Tenuta San Guido and brands like Sassicaia can do to kind of advance women in the industry, not just in positions of power, but maybe in positions of interest, enologists, viticulturalists, things that are maybe not expected to be jobs for women.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, I would like to say that more and more in our industry, I notice larger presence of women at all levels, like you said, not only of power, but also of interest. I can look at our own situation here in Tenuta San Guido. In the office, for example, we are 7 women and 8 men. So we're basically same number. And 2 of these women are agronomists. So they also are involved in the countryside works and so on and so forth. Regarding the works that we do in the vineyards, we have a team of about 40 women that are actively working and doing the most fine works exactly on the vineyards. So the quota of women is quite important here. And I suppose that big brands or large estates can give a good example and inspire other estates to follow that example.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Are you enjoying this podcast? Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, for fascinating videos covering Stevie Kim and her travels across Italy and beyond, meeting winemakers, eating local foods, and taking in the scenery. Now, back to the show.
We're going to ask you few more questions, but we would like to start tasting the wine.
Right.
So we have here, ta-da! Are you familiar with this wine? It's called Sassicaia.
Kind of, yeah.
Listen, before we go a little bit about the wine, we do a small deep dive. Can you give us kind of an overview of your other labels? I don't know if it's hard to say your second or your third. It sounds so pejorative, but it's still drinkable, I wouldn't throw it away.
Yes.
Right.
So apart from Sassicaia, you're right, we produce 2 more labels. One is called Guidalberto, which we produce since the vintage 2000, and it's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. We don't actually refer to it as our second wine, but rather another wine produced in Tenuta San Guido, because we use part of the grapes, which are selected from the younger vineyards of the Sassicaia DOC area, which we don't use for Sassicaia. But also it has some hectares which we have planted on the Bolgheri DOC part of our estate. And on top of that, we also purchased some grapes from our relative of ours, who's a wine producer in the
You're
Bolgheri
all
area.
relatives down there.
Yeah, it's a big family, you're right, which has good aspects, but sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. But it's very nice to be here, and you're always surrounded by some family members, and we collaborate as well. So in this case, our cousin sells us his grapes, and we use it to make Guidalberto. Guidalberto was started because at the end of the 1990s, my father realized that he had planted enough Cabernet Sauvignon vines in order to produce enough grapes to make more than enough Sassicaia. So in order to keep the production of Sassicaia not too high, he realized that he could select a lot and had some grapes of Cabernet which were left over, and he could make another wine, which he decided to blend with Merlot to make it different. And also because Merlot was becoming quite important in Bolgheri. So the idea behind Guidalberto is to reach a wider public and a wider...
Can you give us some numbers so we can contextualize, like in terms of the production?
Well, yeah, of course. Sassicaia nowadays is about 250,000 bottles. And Guidalberto is a bit less than 400,000. And Le Difese around 230,000.
Okay, very good.
And Le Difese, it's what we call entry-level wine, I would say, which is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and 30% Sangiovese. And the Sangiovese we purchase from inland Tuscany, again from the same relative who also happens to have an estate in the Chianti area, and other friends. I mean, they are the same supplier since many years of Sangiovese because we don't grow it ourselves.
Where is that coming from? Like, it's in Tuscany, but where?
No, in the Chianti area.
Oh, it's in Chianti.
Yeah. And Le Difese, basically, it's a wine that we advise to be drunk young. It's very fresh, easygoing. It doesn't need to age for much, whereas Guidalberto has a longer aging potential. So they're really like a little sequence of entry level than Guidalberto, which has its own identity and has a slightly longer aging potential. But still, the price point is very interesting compared to Sassicaia, which is then...
Well, yeah, absolutely.
The bigger wine that you can put away for 30 years or longer.
So we opened this bottle. It was too early, right? I should have waited.
Right, yes. But
okay. So tell us about this vintage, 2017.
Okay, 2017 was one of the two I mentioned earlier. I said it was one of the two warmest of the last decade. Mm-hmm. But maybe not really comparable, not as warm as 2012, less dry and less warm, maybe more comparable to 2005 or 2009 or 2007. And it was still quite a challenging vintage, which shows exactly in this instance the potential of the territory where we are close to the sea, and also the fact that our vineyards are strategically located in the high parts of Tenuta San Guido. So even in a vintage like this one, where one would expect maybe more structured and overripe wines, I hope you will find it still quite elegant and with a certain freshness.
What is the altitude?
The altitude ranges from about 80 meters to just below 400 meters above sea level.
It's very vast, right?
Yeah. In fact, the whole estate covers about 2,500 hectares, and only around 100 hectares are vinified, covered with vineyards, and of which...
Now, can you repeat that? How much?
Roughly 100 hectares. So...
Okay.
Let's say 90 hectares Bolgheri Sassicaia DOC, and some hectares are in the Bolgheri DOC, because the Bolgheri Sassicaia DOC is roughly 400 hectares. It doesn't cover the whole of Tenuta San Guido. So
okay, that's separate, right? You have your own DOC.
Yes, the DOCs in Bolgheri are two. There is Bolgheri DOC and Bolgheri Sassicaia DOC, which were together to start with when they were instituted in 1994. Bolgheri Sassicaia was a subzone of the Bolgheri DOC. Then in 2013, they became completely separate, and we have two different set of rules, disciplinare. So to go back to your original question, our vineyards are very much scattered around these 2,500 hectares in different spots. So there are different plots which then also react differently to the different vintages and different climatic trends. So basically you can select from a much larger surface of vineyards. About 60% of our Bolgheri Sassicaia DOC vineyards are actually used for Sassicaia in the end, because then we select and we use part of those grapes also for Guidalberto.
So, it's not wine related, but you have like so much land. What's going on in the rest of the land? You have like a bird sanctuary or something?
Yes. So let's say of these 2,500 hectares, about 1,300, so to say, is forest on the hills mainly. Within this forest, you find some vineyards as well, which are surrounded by the classic Mediterranean scrubland. And then on the lower part of the hills, we have traditional agriculture, olive yards, so we make olive oil. And then the training grounds for the horses. As you know, we have English thoroughbred studs where we breed and also train for flat racing English thoroughbred horses, which is the other big activity of the family. And then lower down towards the coast, basically attached to the sea, between the Aurelia Road and the sea, are about 450 hectares nature preserve, where nature is protected, and where we have in the winter these migrating birds that are stopping there because the whole park gets flooded with water, and then you have, you can come and look at the birds with binoculars and stuff.
I'm waiting for my invitation to do the bird watching.
But Stevie, you have an open invitation. I don't need to invite.
Listen. This dude, Matteo Clausen, butchering his name, Panevino, he said, Auguri, 50th birthday, Sassicaia. Listen, is there anything special? Are you planning anything special for the 50th birthday?
we're actually not really doing anything special. You're right, because we this is the 50th birthday of Sassicaia on the market, but it's not the 50th birthday of the wine. But still,
do you have any anticipation for the next vintage, the 18? When is it going to come out in the market?
The 18 should shortly come out in the market. Usually it corresponds with the Vinitaly moment.
Yeah, but
there's no Vinitaly. Yeah, but we can't wait until June. So
yeah, of course.
Sassicaia will be released in the next month. And 2018 is a nice, fresh, cool, classic Sassicaia vintage. So
there's a dude from New York City, love from New York City, Stefan. I know, it's very early. Just say hello to Stefan because he got out. Okay, you saw that? That was for you, Stefan. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to let Cristina ask you another question.
Sure.
Ciao Priscilla, io ho avuto il permesso di parlare in italiano perché non tanto secchiona, però secchiona un po' sul tuo vino. Allora la mia domanda riguarda più i cenni, qualche cenno storico, soprattutto sulla grande genialità che ha avuto ovviamente il marchese Mario Incisa della Rocchetta. Volevo sapere nello specifico se è vero che quando ha ideato il progetto Sassicaia, chiamiamolo così, ha deciso veramente di andare in contrasto anche con quello che era poi il metodo francese di fare la fermentazione in dei tini di legno prima di passare poi effettivamente quello che era l'acciaio, quello che è adesso l'acciaio.
No, è vero. It is true that in the first years, in the first primi stadi, in the first experimentations, and also a bit longer than that, our grandfather was using wooden vats for fermentation. And then with the arrival of Takis, the stainless steel vats were introduced. And at that time, they seemed basically like a big innovation,
Perfetto.
Okay. So we have one last question for you. Maybe not. You never know with me, I always have a surprise. For the students, the WSET students, let's say even diploma level, what are like the 3 must know about Sassicaia?
Well, I think I already mentioned some of them in my previous answers. One of them being
there's somebody, Ludovico, vieni che è pronto da mangiare.
Yeah, if I tell you that this is my son, now I'm gonna go home and he's gonna see a lot of trouble.
A lot of trouble. Your mom's gonna be finishing in like 3 minutes. Okay, just relax.
And then he will.
How old is he?
14.
Oh, just relax.
He's teasing me. He's teasing me because he sees that I'm concentrating on something. So hopefully I read it.
Are you doing the cooking?
No.
Okay, not today. You should make Ludovico cook.
Exactly.
That's what you should do.
Today I'm not cooking, and he probably didn't get anything for lunch.
That's really funny. Okay.
So anyway, I would like to say that maybe one of the special things about Tenuta San Guido in general is this vast area of land where only 4% is actually occupied by vineyards, and where we really selected the best spots where to plant our vineyards, the best soils, the best exposure, so on and so forth. And also this biodiversity that you mentioned with the nature reserve, the traditional agriculture, the olive yards, the fact that the vineyards are surrounded by forests. It's a combination of a lot of things, and it makes Tenuta San Guido a bit a different winemaking estate compared to other estates that I know. Then I probably would say that Sassicaia is the only one I know, at least, but maybe one of the few examples of wines that were created out of passion and desire to experiment, and only became, like, so to say, a commercial wine 20 years later. It was a wine for family and friends for so many years. So this is also a bit strange. When it was first created, it was not intended to be sold on the market, but to be consumed within the family circle and eventually with some friends. And then also the DOC, Bolgheri Sassicaia, is also an important aspect because...
Yeah, I think that's very important, historically speaking.
Historically speaking, it was created for the whole Bolgheri area for red wines in 1994, and Sassicaia got its own DOC appellation, which of course gives us some rules that we have to respect, and they are a little bit stricter than the Bolgheri Superiore, for example, in terms of yield and in terms of grapes that we can use. But I mean, it's a great honor to have our own DOC. So this makes the wine very special.
And I just say on a personal note, I love the fact that, the Bolgheri is run by 3 women. So let's hear for that.
Exactly. Since 2 years ago.
I love that. It's great. Did you make any changes?
Well, we are, yes. Before Albiera was president, Albiera Antinori, it was Federico Zileri, our other cousin.
Your cousin.
Yes, and before that,
I know.
yeah, and before that, my father
your father
for 18 years. So
yes,
now,
I know.
Now it's really a big change, and together with Cint and Albiera.
Valentina.
Yes, Valentina. Yeah, of course, super Valentina. But Albiera is very hands-on, and
I saw that you guys changed the logo.
Well, they wanted to have a little fresher image, and we changed also the web page, and then we started this Instagram communication with the pictures of the.
Yeah, I saw that. They're doing a good job.
So about
now, I have a bone to pick about with you.
Yeah,
you know that, right? You know that. You know what it is. I'm not going to tell everybody. So I'm just waiting. Okay. Listen, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Stevie.
You have to go eat. The other dude, Matteo's, blah, 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 blah. He asked if the Enoteca was open.
No, unfortunately not, because we are here at Zona Arancione now.
Probably the most important question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Stevie.
All right.
Great fun.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another installment of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Join her again next week for more interesting content in the Italian wine scene. You can also find us at ItalianWinePodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. You can also check out our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, to watch these interviews and the footage captured of each location. Chin chin!